central part of my family. My father was a businessman, my grandfather was a businessman, his father was a businessman, and having been brought up in such a family, it automatically became my way of thinking that this is something I had to do. So when I was young and asked, what do you want to do with your life, my response was, I want to be in business. It didn't matter what business, it didn't matter what I did or how I did it. It just mattered that I was in business and I did something that made a lot of money. So growing up, my family had a history of trading in commodities. They owned agricultural land, mines across Africa, and were in some industries which were rather questionable. Didn't have great ethical practices, but they were very, very rich, traded all over the world in the early 90s to the mid 90s, sorry, 1900s. And this excellence in business taught me that this is what I had to do. When asking friends and family while growing up, what is the purpose of being in business? 9 out of 10 of them told me that it's to make money. So automatically, as I said earlier, this was the nature of which I thought business had to be conducted. But later in life, I realized that this formula doesn't work for me. I mean, I started and closed many businesses. Some were successful, more were failures. But the formula just didn't stack up. I was doing stuff that didn't drive humanity forward. So now when I look at a business or an opportunity, there's a scale. One side is it driving humanity forward? Is it humanity positive? Or is it humanity negative? Is it helping others improve and enhance their lives? Or am I doing it just for the profit? So the concept I'd like to talk to you about today is called mindful entrepreneurship. Now, mindful entrepreneurship came about to me when I started studying meditation and mindfulness. And I managed to change the nature of this topic into how to merge it with business. So, mindful entrepreneurship means to do something with purpose, something that you love, something that you are passionate about, rather than doing something for the sake of making money. And I firmly believe that if you're doing something you love, money will eventually come. But if you're doing something you hate, you might have a heart attack before you see any money. Or you might see some money, but you might die trying to chase it. So, when we stop to think about what we're doing, and I implore you to all do this, I'd like you to ask yourselves a question, whether it's employment that you're in or a business. Ask yourself, what I am doing, is it humanity positive or negative? Does it drive the human race forward, or are we causing detriment to it? Now, I'm not advocating that you all go and resign from your jobs tomorrow, but I would strongly advise that you think about what you do. A lot of us do stuff we don't like, and our purpose is money. More recently, I've been involved in projects that have purpose. And while I haven't seen any money yet, it is starting to flow, because the opportunities that flow as a result of doing what you love start to confound and eventually grow quite...
Confound.
So, what is mindful? What kind of business is mindful entrepreneurship? This could be incorporating sustainability into your idea. It could be a simple act of kindness in your business or in your day-to-day life. You can do this through your work within a company. It doesn't have to be a business of your own. To give you an example, has anyone heard of this little app that we use to book taxis called Curry?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's only a $1.5 billion, $2 billion company. It's very small. So when they started this company, the first thing that they asked themselves, the founders, was, what are our values? What are our principles? Who do we want to help by starting this business? And some might say, it's a car business, so it's humanity negative because of all the emissions it causes. But they started with a higher purpose. They said, who is the population in the UAE that is suffering? And they chose taxi drivers, because taxi drivers, as you all know, have quotas to fill and have to work 10 to 12-hour days just to fill those quotas. So they started by empowering this category of the population. And rather than calling them drivers, they decided to call them captains. In doing so, and analyzing Careem as a company, I noticed that the drivers were happy. One driver that I met from Pakistan actually, as a result of working at Careem, was able to not only build a house for his family back in Pakistan, but also start a school and start medical camps for his local village, for underprivileged children and for the elders of the community. So while initially the business model might not stack up, the profound impact that it had
Profound or confound?
was confounded. And it led to the company being taken over by a giant like Uber. So I would recommend that you think about what you do. Think about your values, think about your principles, and think about how what you do can help other people. The world needs to change, and we need to stop focusing on money. And I assure you all that money will come when you stop focusing on it. So thank you very much, and we will back.